It was 2 a.m. when John's phone vibrated on his bedside table. Half awake, he reached for it clumsily, assuming it was his teenage son staying out too late. But instead, a shaking voice drifted through the speaker. "Please, Dad, I need you. Can you come get me?" John shot upright. The voice wasn't his son's. It belonged to a girl, young, terrified, and clearly dialing a wrong number. Most people would have ended the call, but John didn't. Something in her tone, that raw, trembling fear, hit him straight in the chest. He stepped out of bed, grabbed his keys, and chose to go. That small moment of compassion, one mistaken call, would shift his life forever. Hey friends, welcome to Echoes of Dad, where we share inspiring stories about fatherhood, hope, and the quiet strength of kindness. If this story reaches your heart, please tap subscribe, hit the like button, and share in the comments what kindness means to you. Now let's step into this remarkable night, the night that started with a wrong number and ended with a forever home. John Miller was a single father from Ohio. He spent long hours as a tow truck driver, raising his 15-year-old son, Ryan, on his own after his wife died 5 years earlier. Money was tight, but love never was. Their small home was cluttered, noisy, filled with laughter and sometimes burned pancakes. John had grown used to managing life's storms alone. He expected no surprises until that night. It was bitter outside, the kind of cold that cuts the air. John had been dreaming of his late wife when the phone buzzed. The caller ID read, "Unknown." He nearly let it ring, but something urged him to answer. And when he did, he heard that terrified young voice. "Please, Dad, I need you to come." He's furious. "I don't know where to go." John blinked in confusion. Sweetheart, I think you may have dialed the wrong number." But the girl didn't hang up. She only cried harder. That sound, that helplessness, cut through him. He remembered how his son sobbed the night his mother passed. Without thinking, he asked gently, "Where are you right now?" Through shaky breaths, she shared an address, a neighborhood John didn't know, about 40 minutes away. He paused. It was late. He didn't know. This girl, what if it was a setup? But then he thought of his wife. She had always said, "If you can help someone, John, don't wait. Just go." So he went. The drive felt longer than usual. The roads were silent, streetlights glinting on the frozen pavement. John's old truck grumbled quietly through the night as his thoughts spun. What if she's in danger? What if it's nothing? What am I doing? When he reached the location, he saw a tall iron gate with a long driveway leading to what looked like a mansion. Not what he expected. He stopped outside, stepped out, and walked toward the gate. Before he could call out, it swung open automatically, as if someone had been watching. He moved in, slowly, his breath curling white in the air. On the steps stood a young woman, maybe 19 or 20, wrapped in a blanket, barefoot and crying. When she saw him, she whispered, "You came." John's chest tightened. "Sweetheart, I think you reached the wrong person. My name's John, but are you okay?" She nodded, faintly, brushing tears away. I just dialed the last number my dad called before he died. I wasn't thinking. I just needed someone." She looked exhausted and cold. John paused for a moment, stunned. She looked so truly lost. He could have stepped back, wished her well, and left. But instead, he said, "Let's get you inside, okay? You're freezing." Inside, the house looked like something from a film. Marble, floors, chandeliers, and portraits on the walls. She guided him to the kitchen and prepared tea, her hands still shaking. Her name was Emily Carrington. she was the only child of Richard Carrington, a prominent businessman who died 6 months earlier. Her mother was away, overseas, leaving her alone in the huge house since the funeral. That night, she said she had an argument with her boyfriend who had stormed out in anger. She panicked and felt really afraid. "When I called you," she whispered, "I just wanted my dad." John nodded slowly, understanding far more than she realized. He told her about his wife, about raising Ryan, about how grief never really disappears. It just shifts its shape. They talked until sunrise. By the time he finally stood to leave, Emily's hands had stopped trembling. She seemed steadier, even managed a faint smile. "Thank you for coming," she said. "You didn't have to." John smiled back. "Yeah, but sometimes we do things we don't have to. That's what keeps us human." A week slipped by. John assumed that was the end of their strange encounter. But one afternoon, while he was under his truck, a sleek black car pulled up in front of his house. Emily stepped out, holding a tray of muffins. Ryan peeked from the doorway and muttered, Dad, there's some fancy lady here." John chuckled and walked over. "I wanted to thank you properly," Emily said. "You didn't just show up. You showed kindness, and I can't forget that." They talked again, this time over coffee, at John's scratch kitchen table. Ryan joined them, throwing jokes around until the whole room filled with warmth. For Emily, who had spent months inside silence, it felt like light had come back into her life. In the weeks that followed, Emily began dropping by often. She'd bring groceries, sometimes help Ryan with homework, or just sit in the garage while John worked. The three of them built an unexpected bond, one grieving heiress, a single father, and his teenage son. Ryan adored her. He said she made the house less boring. And John, he didn't want to admit it, but he found himself looking forward to her visits too. Still, doubt lingered. Their lives were opposites. She had privilege, comfort, security. John had overdue bills, old tools, and a heart stitched together after loss. But kindness doesn't care about status. It simply ties souls together. Then one evening, Emily arrived looking uneasy. "John," she said, twisting her fingers nervously, "I need your help." Her late father's company was sinking. People she trusted were trying to push her out, and she didn't know who to trust. John wasn't a businessman, but he was honest. "I may not know your world," he said, "but I know this: when people try to intimidate you, that's when you stand taller." He stood beside her through every meeting, every tough decision, reminding her she was far stronger than she believed. And slowly, she pulled everything back together. A few months later, the company finally stabilized, and Emily hosted a small dinner to celebrate. She invited John and Ryan. After the meal, she asked John to step outside with her. Beneath the soft garden lights, she whispered, "You know, that night I called you, I thought I had no one left. But then you came. You saved me." John shook his head gently. "You saved yourself, Emily. I just showed up." She smiled, tears gathering. "Then keep showing up. Stay, not just tonight. I mean in our lives, for good." John froze for a moment. He felt that deep ache, the one that comes right before tears spill. He thought of his wife again, her voice echoing within him. "If you can help someone, John, you don't wait. You just go," he whispered. "Okay?" From that night forward, they became a family, not by blood, but by choice and by kindness. Emily sold the mansion and bought a warm little house near Johnstown. Ryan started calling her They cooked meals together, shared laughter, and healed in ways none of them expected. It wasn't some perfect fairy tale. Life never is, but it was real. And it all started because one man answered wrong. Number at 2 a.m. Sometimes kindness doesn't appear as grand gestures. It looks like showing up when you don't have to, listening when you could turn away. It's answering the wrong call and discovering something right on the other side. John had no idea that night would change his life. He simply chose to care. And because he did, 3 wounded hearts finally found a home. So if you ever wonder whether one small act of kindness matters, it does, because kindness echoes. It carries farther than we imagine. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you to pick up the phone. Thank you for watching Echoes of Dad. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Tell us in the comments, have you ever shown kindness to a stranger? Or has a stranger's kindness changed your life? Until next time, remember, kindness isn't a single act. It's a way of living one heart at a time.